Hello everyone, this is Mike Conley and welcome once again to Hitting the Mark. We have just finished an overview of Islamic history, the last 1400 years and a total of 548 different battles of conquest. Today, I want to begin by taking a look at Europe presently, because what is happening in Europe is escalating in our beloved America as I speak. The pattern that the Muslim-Islamic connection has used since the day of Muhammad was to immigrate, then increase numerically, and then eliminate. So it's immigrate, increase, and eliminate. Europe, as we all know, is about totally socialist. Healthcare, welfare, retirement, just about any program you can think of that's going on over there is all paid for by the government. Now the question has arose concerning abortion. In our nation, since 1973, we have aborted over 50 million innocent lives. Add to that the homosexual community and the lesbian community, and you have zero population growth. Add to that an aging workforce that is not being replaced. The question becomes, who is going to pay for all these government programs, whether it be Europe or in the United States? Europe decided the immigrants are going to do this. Well, right now in Europe, the Muslims are the majority of the immigrants coming into Europe and here also. In Europe, 70% of all immigration is Muslim. Add to that the fact that above any other culture, they're having children 8-to-1. It's the highest birth rate on the globe. At one time, Europe was Catholic. Then along came the Protestant Reformation, and we also need to add in the Jewish population in Europe's entirety. But Europe, in its secularism, began to grow more and more towards being secularized as immigration came in. And even more as Muslim immigration came in. And with Muslim immigration came these things. We're now seeing honor killings. Sharia law, where 5 times a day the streets are blocked for prayer. And a tremendous amount of money is being poured out to the Muslim immigrants through the welfare system. Europe right now are scratching their heads saying, how did this happen? How did we go from a Judeo-Christian background and move into secular and now into Muslim. The idea is that all of Europe is being unhooked from its very own culture. Now, there are those who would say, well, you just can't unhook a people from their culture. One glaring example is China. We ousted Chiang Kai-shek from China, allowing communism to go in and take that culture over. Over the years, we have heard more whining about Castro concerning Cuba and being communist, but yet it was our government that put him in power. And now in Europe and the United States, it is the Muslims that are unhooking our culture and replacing it. In Germany, 10 to 15 years ago, probably even a little more than that, there were only 3 mosques in the entire nation of Germany. Now, beloved, there are more than 200. Angela Merkel, the leader of Germany, said this, and I quote, "Multiculturalism has failed. You do not immigrate unless you learn our language and our customs." One example of this is in Paris. There are 751 no-go zones. Even as a policeman with the authority of the government, you do not want to go in those zones. But how do these zones get started? How does a neighborhood get, quote, taken over? Well, people meet Muslims as they move in, and they're nice. And then more move in. And as they bring their culture with them, the burqas begin to show up. The blocked streets begin to show up. Sharia law begins to move in. And it isn't very long before a neighborhood is taken over. While the government are paying the Muslims welfare, at the very same time the Muslims are Islamifying the very nation that allowed them to come in. And if you don't think that's true, you look at France and England and Germany, and the list goes on. The strategy that they employ is this: you take advantage of that nation's religious and constitutional freedoms, and very soon you can take over politically. Down south, a few years ago, we had 2 congressmen sworn in, but not on the scriptures. They were sworn in on the Quran. They would not be sworn in on the Bible. Let me give you one tragic example that happened in Pakistan by Sharia law. A 40-year-old man raped his niece. According to Sharia law, the responsibility was the niece's. She was going to be whipped 100 times. She died on the 80th hit. So you see, this is what we are truly facing in Europe and in our great country. In England alone, around London, there are 12 cities. Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, and more, that now are Islamic Emirates. Not just cities, but Islamic Emirates. In Norway, a few years back, the #1 crime in Norway, Sweden, and Denmark was rape. Muslim men raping blonde-haired, blue-eyed European women. It became so difficult for the women of those nations that they dyed their hair black. This is what we're facing, ladies and gentlemen. It's no joke. It's a very, very difficult situation. When I first started this, I told you that I would use both history and the scriptures to demonstrate to you the true tenets of Islam and Muslim and jihad and all that connection. Next week, on my next video, I'm going to take you all the way back to Abraham and Sarah, where this really started from. And I think that perspective is necessary at this time. It is an eye-opener because not many know it. So I hope that you will continue to touch base with these videos. And once again, on your own, do your own study. Look up your own facts. I think you're going to be surprised, both Muslim and non-Muslim both, about how this really came together. It is in fact an absolute eye-opener. So once again, I wish you the very best. God's richest blessings on you and your family. And until the next time, may He bless you and keep you safe. Amen.